Istanbul, Turkey. I'm illustrating some picture books that I can show you. These are that I made before. And this one is a baby board book with some ads. But today I will talk about my ongoing projects that they are all unfinished, but next year they will be published. So it's good to see before. I would like to share my screen first. During the workshop, if you have any questions, you can tell me, or if you want to see some illustrations more, you can tell me to stop. First, I would like to start with my own storybook. It's a picture book about my childhood. It's a half-finished book, but it will finish until the end of the year, and it will be published next year in Turkey. I'm showing you the English version. So this is a story that I influenced from my childhood, and it is about my relationship and friendship with my grandmother. I will not tell you the whole story, but I would like to tell you as a summary of the book and what I would like to tell what is behind. It generally focuses on my growing up adventure and the memories that I remember. So in this page, for example, you are seeing me and my grandmother. In the feminist stories, for example, having a strong woman character is very important. And for me, this one was my grandmother. And in addition to the humans, I also... There is a new person. So I think I can continue now. So in addition to the humans, I'm always adding some animals because I always have some animals in my childhood, so they are important characters for me. And in this story, I was thinking to focus on the growing up and the change of a person. For example, in this page, you can see me as a very little person. But later it changed a lot. So I would like to tell in the story that it is okay to be very big and also very small. It's all of them are very normal things. And I'm also focusing on the suggestions of my grandmother. She told me in the story. For example, she told me you can decide how happy you are. So it's a personal thing. I also focus on, in addition to the being very small or being big, and also getting older. It's also a normal thing. In this page, you can see me as an old person, but also the other characters are also getting older. And later I focus on that we can also be friends with old people and we can enjoy. It's also another kind of friendship that we can have. And collaboration is also an important thing because when I was a child, I was enjoying also being by myself, but it's also good to be with other people, having support from other people. It can maybe change our progress in another way. If anyone wants to talk, I would like to ask some questions. And in this page, for example, you can see me with my grandmother. She was the one who teach me how to draw, so it was very important for me. And I would like to dedicate this book to her. And another important thing is, in my childhood, she was always drawing flowers and birds for me. But now, even in this age, I'm still drawing flowers and birds. So I think it's a big influence from her to me. And this is the last page of the book. So everything that I learned from her, from my grandmother, helped me to make my own way. And I would like to ask to the reader, what is your path, or how will you manage this? This is the end of the first book I would like to show you. And if it is okay, I would like to ask to the participants, do you have any memory with your grandmother that you want to share? If not, I will continue with the second book. So, in this book, it's not a personal story, but it's a book that also has a heroine as a main character. So, it is also important. It is in Turkish and it will be published next year. It's a story of a deaf girl who enjoys at the beach. She likes swimming and enjoying with her friends a lot. And she has a big imagination, so she sees different things from the books she reads. It's all a summer story. This is her mother. The main character is Sue. You can see the blue-haired girl. In this page, she is getting ready to read a book, and later I will show the inside of the book. So it's like a magical book she reads. It's like from sand, and she can see different things with her imagination. Here you can see she is trying to play with the book. And this is the inside of the book that she reads. In my old books, I'm also focusing on the animals again a lot. You will see also the other animals in the next page. So in the book she reads, there is a main character, Squirrel, who is having a new adventure in a town. And later it is getting lost in the town with many humans. The story is a bit changing. Sometimes we are in the book that she reads, and sometimes we can see the beach and the main character. For me, this book was very important because I work with another author. The first one was my own book, but in this one, I collaborate with an author. And it is also important to have a disabled character. For example, it is the main character is a girl, but also she is deaf. So there is an intersectionality. So I think it's also an important topic for feminism. You can see the interaction of the squirrel with other animals in the book also. In this page, for example, she is trying to change the sandy book with other things, and she tries to create new stories. I would like to pass a bit quickly and coming to the end, there is another important thing. In this page, for example, I think it was very important to show also sign language. And for children, maybe it's an sometimes unknown thing to, so it's like an introduction, but not the main topic of the book. And this is the last page. She's saying goodbye to the book that she read. And this is the cover. The examples that I will show maybe later will inspire you to draw your own things. So I think it is important. And I would like to come to do my last story. It is a comic story that I'm working on. The first one was for picture books, but this one is a bit different. And it is my first long comic book example. I started to do it at the beginning of the pandemic. I was in Brussels for a project, and in Belgium, it's also very important to and very recognizable to have a comics culture. So I think I'm influenced from this a lot, and I started to create different memories of mine during my stay. First, I started with the lockdown days, so I was having Zoom meetings a lot and talking with my family, and even the parks were closed in my area, so it wasn't okay to go. So I tried to visualize these memories. And I think it's also interesting because I put myself as a main character, but also it's another thing that I'm centralizing and creating a heroine from myself in the story. Sometimes it can be also imaginary things, not only focusing on the reality. Every day I try to do some sketch for this project, but I didn't finish all the pages. For every memory, I'm like creating one of or mostly 3 pages maximum. So there isn't any connection between them sometimes, but they are focusing on different memories and different days. This is from the lake I visited a lot after the lockdown. And in here you can see a mask that thrown away from another person. And when I was in Brussels, my father was in Istanbul, and it was his birthday. I didn't celebrate face to face, so I tried to visualize him and me and a cake and a gift for him. So creating your own stories can also change the space. You can be virtually or in an art piece together with other people, even you cannot see them in real. And during the pandemic later, there was a Black Lives Matter protest, so I also try to visualize this. In these days, everybody was sharing the black screen, so I was thinking it is the same square, so I can use it in my comics too, and I can remember this day later. This is another page that I start to meet with my friends, but with the protection, with the mask. And it was always very, very rainy in Brazil, so I tried to visualize this because it was also difficult to wearing a mask and also being under the rain. Sometimes I'm creating more abstract page, like if it is rain, we don't need to see all the drops like in the reality, what we can change them, or we can add some imaginary things to the reality. It's up to us, because we are the heroines in the stories. Or we can combine again the reality with the. Sometimes I'm creating some objects or the animals and I'm adapting it to the next page. So even there isn't any connection, the things that inside can create a narrative between. And this is the last page I drew. I was in Ostend and I was watching the children that play with the sand. It was a very enjoyable memory for me, so I tried to visualize it. I think it is the end of the all stories. If you would like to ask something, you can tell me, or if there isn't any questions, maybe I would like to ask you if you would like to draw. You can try to draw a memory of yours. You can also get inspired from the examples that I show you. Maybe I can open an example again. And for the visual, that if you would like to draw, I was thinking maybe you can use yourself as a heroine, or you can get inspired from the people that close to you. As a feminist, you can use them as the main character also.